USF Tampa Library Special Collections Department. And I'd like to share with you here a splendid early printed book from 1596. This book has a very nice vellum cover, and vellum is the skin of either a calf or a lamb that has been treated, and it's practically indestructible. The book is The Life and Miracles of Saint Benedict. It's part 2 of Gregory the Great's Dialogues, a book that was written in the year 600, but then was printed in the late 16th century. And what this book is especially remarkable for are its line engravings, print engravings made from a copper plate, and a technique that really came into its own in the late 16th century, especially in Italy, and this book was printed in Rome. Line engraving was a technique that used a burin, which was a steel tool that engraved upon a copper plate, upon which ink was put and then paper applied to. This raised the level of the book to a whole new level in the late 16th century. Now, the book is written in Latin, but the Latin text is a very minor part of this book. It's really the illustrations that make this book remarkable, and the very fine lines and cross-hatching. As you see in this illustration here, it is the outlining of the figures that makes the illustrations really distinctive and gave them a whole different character versus the wood cut engravings of the previous generation. In this particular illustration, we see the saint, that's Saint Benedict here, and his crew at the monastery who are undergoing a building project, but they can't get a particular stone to move. However, the saint shows up. He's the papa of the monastery, and he can see something that they cannot see, and that is a demon is holding down the rock. And so despite all their manpower and their efforts to move the rock, they cannot. But the saint can see what they cannot. And so this is a story about the prophetic powers of the saint, and his prayer then rids the rock of the devil, and in this upper corner you can see that the devil moving away. And you see the detail, the very fine cross-hatching that gives the shading to the illustration. You see how the figures, it's the outline of the figures, okay, that makes line engraving its distinctive style. And the folds of the clothing and of the drapery, that's the distinctive aspect. It's also at the level of theme and content, it's the subject matter, it's the idea of demons, which was becoming a very popular public notion late in the 16th century, just at the time of the wave of witchcraft persecutions, which will take place in the 17th century, both in America and on the European continent. So this particular book, published in Italy, then made its way over into an American library. The second illustration that I would like to share with you is remarkable for a theme I haven't seen so much of before, and that is the story of an exorcism in reverse. And we have here Saint Benedict and the story of how he forbade a certain priest to remain in the clerical orders, because this man was not cut out for the vocation of a priest. Not everyone is called into the ministry, but this man wanted to be a priest because he wanted to rise high in the ecclesiastical hierarchy. But Benedict prohibited him from doing it and exorcised the demons that from the man. But the man did not listen to Benedict's advice, and what we have here is a re-entry of the demons into the man when he disobeyed the saint's advice. Right? So this is an insorcism, a re-entry of demons into the host. Right. And then finally, I enjoy this picture for the the very vivid depiction of the devil here, and the devil associated with the world and the outside world, whereas the cloistered monastery is purified from the temptations of sin in the world. And this is a story of a monk who just couldn't stand life in the monastery any longer, and he took off, despite the Saint Benedict's warnings. It's not going to go well for you out there in the world. So the monk said, no, but I can't take it anymore here. It's too quiet and isolated and lonely. Despite the saint's warnings to the monk not to leave the monastery, that it would not go well out in the world, the monk did it anyway. But he didn't make it too far before the devil, vividly portrayed here as a dragon, met him on the path and forced him back to the monastery. And although the saint's words weren't enough to convince him, this interaction with the devil did, and the monk returned to the monastery and never left again. So the importance of this book is, in part, the technology of line engravings using metal plates and the sort of artistic rendition that afforded, especially in Italy in the late 16th century, and the evidence about this popular view of demons and devils really alive in the world, and the power of certain individuals to overcome those devils. And so this book, The Life and Miracles of Saint Benedict, is available in special collections at University of South Florida Tampa Library.